Hey, it's been a little bit since I've made a tutorial, and I have been dealing with a problem lately, and I finally found what I think is a good method for my clients to create graphics that they can replace in their website banners. Right now, one of the most popular things that's almost on any website is the uh, the home feature banner, and you know I like the idea that when I hand off a website to somebody, or if I'm just training someone in general in graphics, that they can be a little more self-sufficient without having to call on me if they don't want to. Obviously, when you have a professional designer do something, you'll get higher quality, you'll get a more refined look. But that's not to say there's not plenty of room to do your own stuff, and that's how you get good at things. So, if that's a direction you're going, I certainly recommend people be enabled. Um, LibreOffice has, first of all, advantages: free, cross-platform, has a few things that, as far as features that'll surprise you. Part of it is drawing. It's got a drawing app included with it. And by the way, LibreOffice, if you haven't heard of it, it's like OpenOffice. It's a fork of it, so it's slightly different. But it's an open source program, similar to, I guess, the Microsoft suite of apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. LibreOffice has Writer, Calc, Draw, Presentation, and by the way, if I were to say, basically after investigating, if I were to hand off something to my clients to build their own banners, it would either be this, or I would say get Microsoft Publisher, as far as like price and sort of it being so common. Um, this I think is superb. Publisher isn't cross-platform, but still is really good for what people want to do. Mostly that is managing pictures. So now that we're into Draw here, let's figure out, first off, getting the interface worked out for us. So the default setup is the tools are down here, so you can drag this guy, sort of hover to the left, and you'll get your tools there. This is more like a Photoshop setup. I usually decrease the size of the Pages panel. I don't need that. And then I like to, let's start with a scenario here, because the scenario I've kind of put forth is this banner here, I need to replace it with a new banner, right? So that's our imaginary scenario. I'm going to right click on this, and I can hit view image or view image info, and so I know this one's selected. So this is the banner that's on this museum site, right? And it's a JPEG they've got, as part of their rotating images. The dimensions are 860 by 260. All right, so keep that in mind. And if you are wanting to do this kind of thing for yourself, find out what your existing site banners need to be, whether that be a thin ad, maybe it's something on the right as a sidebar, maybe it's a top banner. Get those dimensions. This is 860 by 260. A website could be any possible size. All right, so let's get back to LibreOffice here. And one of the things that throws people off here is LibreOffice starts off in inches, so not pixels. We want to work in pixels, but the other problem is LibreOffice doesn't really have a pixel document setting. We're actually going to use points to start with, because we're going to export to pixels. I'll show you. Let's get the template worked out though. So let's go under Tools and then Options, and then let's go to Draw here. And in general, unit of measurement on screen, points is what we can use. So let's use those. And then the other thing I like to do is for the grid, I like to make it visible. It won't really be visible too much, but once things are on top of it, but it's still good to have. These settings are good. And then, yeah, we like that. So we hit OK. Now we got a grid. All right. Now let's get our dimensions. So those were 860 by 260. So let's get our template set up for that. So go to Format, Page. In the Page dialog box, note we've got points there. Let's do 860 points by 260 points. Tab out. Cool. And for our margins, I don't really need them. So I'm going to zero them out really quickly. And looks like we're good there. So hit OK. Margins are out of range. Still want to apply the settings. Yes. I think it wants margins, but we don't really need them, so we won't have them. All right. Now, we're kind of misaligned as far as the ruler. Doesn't matter too much, but I think if you come up here, you can fix that. If you click and drag in this little crosshair, you can kind of like set that there, and that zeroes it out. Actually, that might be right now that I think about it. Oh, that's good. All right, well, if you ever need to do that. And then one other step, and this is really useful actually. From the ruler, click and drag down guides, and you're going to see them snap, okay? We want these guides because if we get too much stuff in the canvas, we won't know where our edges are. So click and drag, and you'll feel it snap, or you'll see it snap. All right, so now we have our page boundary. And by the way, you can zoom in and out with control and scroll the wheel. Got our page boundary. Let's get going on making a banner graphic, because we have nearly everything we need now to be self-sufficient. Let's say, since we're the History Museum, let's make a post about Abraham Lincoln. So I've got a picture prepared. Now, if I got a graphic from the internet, whatever, as long as I have it on my desktop. Here's a really cool thing. If I want to put a picture in, I can go to File, and then, actually, no, it's not that. It is one of these buttons. Oh, it's Insert. Insert Picture. But it's actually easier just to click on your desktop and drag it in. So all I did was I found an empty spot where a graphic was on my desktop or in a folder, dragged it in. Note it comes in and fits the height. This actually is a really big picture. So it comes in height fitting. If we want to enlarge it a bit, we can also shrink it down. Grab the handle, click and hold and drag, hold down the shift key, keep it in proportion. Okay, the shift key is key to keeping in proportion. Hold it down, now it's in proportion. All right, so we're going to make a little quote banner from Abraham Lincoln. That looks good. Let's make sure. Now we could use the grid or not. I don't really need it for this example, but if the grid helps you, maybe refine your template a little bit, get the grid going. So that was just dragging the graphic in. We've already got that position. You can just click and move it. We're using the move tool, or the select tool here. Next, we're going to move to the text tool, and we're going to put in a text box in here. So when you select the text tool, you hover in you get a little text cursor. We're going to click and drag and make a box for the text. Okay. Not sure what I'm putting in here yet, but I'm going to start with example text. All right, so that's example text. Now I've got some text prepared in a little notepad over here, so I'm just going to copy and paste it in. So got the copy ready, paste it in there. Arial is neither the right size or the right typeface. Let's start with a different typeface. This is Baskerville Oldface. It's actually pretty cool for this example. 32 is a good size there. And then I want to get out of this text tool, so I'll go back to the select tool. All right, so that's good. And by the way, you can click and drag these around really easily, but with text, when you hover in it, you click it once, and then hover over the hash border and click it again, and you can move it around. So just note, it's a little bit finicky, but actually once you get used to it, you don't even think about it. All right, so that's that. Now I want to attribute the quote. Well, actually, let me just shrink this up so it's not in the way. There we go. I'm going to attribute the quote to Lincoln, so I'll make one more box. And in this case, instead of drawing a box, I'll actually just click, and I'll type in Abraham Lincoln. And I think I'll do a dash in front of it. A tilde works, but something with fonts, sometimes you don't get the right tilde, so I'm not going to bother with it. Baskerville Oldface, let's bump it up to say 36 so it's bigger. Cool. Alright, gotta move it around, move this, flush it to the right. So takes kind of a design mindset to get things situated, but we're well on our way to a pretty decent banner here, even though it's very plain. All right, so the next thing is let's make a button graphic on top of it. That way we can make it, when it's eventually a banner, click to a link in landing page or something. So on the left here, we've got tools. There's a lot of them. In fact, too many to mention, but basic shapes, go there. And then here, I'm going to go to rectangle rounded. All right, so I got a rounded rectangle. Now, I click and drag, I get this rounded rectangle made. Now, other tools might be able to do everything we've done here, like free tools even, Inkscape or Scribus or something. Scribus, I don't know how people say that, but it's another free like document creation tool or graphic creation tool. This one has just got a few things that just make it easier. I just like it. By the way, drawing this rounded rectangle, there's a little handle here that lets you change the roundedness. So I actually kind of prefer a less round. So I'll go right to the edge. And then, this is a really cool thing. Double clicking or triple clicking inside of a box like this, you can actually add text to it. And it automatically centers it vertically and horizontally. So let's type in some text, learn more. Very cool. Let's increase the size of that. Perfect. Maybe let's bold it out. I'm going to keep it Arial for now. It's ugly, but who cares? So next, let's look at our color options. When we have a box like, or a shape like this selected, you'll see the color options over here. And there's this thing that gives us all kinds of options. It's called the area. It's the paint bucket icon. And just so you know, you can right click on a shape and go to area and get there. But once you see this, you're able to control so many things all here on this one panel. Let's say we want to do a dark button. So that's a good choice. And it remembers that choice, so that's cool. That's another reason why it's nice. For shadow, yeah, let's do shadow. Let's make it a very light shadow. See this shadow sample? Really light shadow. In terms of distance, I don't want it very far away. I like the positioning of it. Cool. Okay, so transparency, we like it, but we may do something with that later. For colors, we have a lot of color access. We can make a custom color here too. So, you know, take your pick on what you want to do. Gradients, this is another option. We can actually apply a gradient to this. You can also make your own gradient, and it can be a linear, up and down, straight across, or it could be a radial. There's more gradients here than I even know what they do. So, in fact, here's one that I made a little bit back. This is a nice, like, subtle radial gradient. So I'm going to choose that. I would have made it, so I made these choices and kind of the positioning of it. We don't want hatching. Yeah, those are all good. Okay, so we click OK. We should get... Oh, that didn't quite work. Not everything's saved. Let's go back in there. Go back into area. And let's go to gradients. And we'll choose... Somehow clicking away didn't take. So let's do that. There we go. Alright, so that's done. Let's change the text color now. This little icon to white. And then that's pretty good. And one more little thing, we'll do a shadow on the text. Cool. Not a bad button. I think I want to do, I'll go back to area here. I think I'm going to increase the border size. Can I do that here? Maybe not. Now let's do it here. Let's give it a border and a proper border color. We will do, let's do black. Yeah, not bad. Actually, I kind of like the idea of using a darker blue, but getting there is going to be the issue. So let's just assume we like that. Last thing, let's put a background behind it. I'm going to draw another rectangle here. It's a straight up rectangle. And then do that. This is the line style. I don't want a line there. I don't want to send this all the way to the back. So I can right click on it and go to Arrange, Send to Back. Cool. Okay, and then the color for this, I want it to be really subtle. So let's go back to Area. And then for, I'm sort of debating on what to put here. I kind of wouldn't mind trying these bitmap backgrounds here, like this marble. Yeah, I think I'll try that. Alright, so this is not really something a pro would make, but it's not bad either. I mean, it kind of, we've gone really far, which is amazing. For this picture here, I want to make sure and get a border on there. So I'm going to go to line, give it continuous line of 1 point, maybe 2 points. And for the color, I'll do black. Hit OK. Cool. All right. So not bad. Not sure exactly if that's going to show up or not. There's a little bit of an edge there. It might be the photo itself, but in any case, that's still a good test, or still a good sample here. So now we're ready to export it. We know our page border is good. Let's export this first to PDF, see what we get. Export to PDF. Click this little PDF button. This is just a straight export. There's no no settings to be done. Alright, so that just exported. Let's open that PDF up and see what we get. I'm going to open it up with Acrobat. Cool. Looking good. I like this. So we could share this with somebody. One thing to note though is like the way this does gradients, it kind of like extracts individual colors as sort of a banding. So you're not going to get, when a PDF export happens, it sort of decides what to make as vectors versus bitmap objects, and doesn't always do the best job. There's a way around this though. We could actually convert this. Let me see if I can make this so it's visible. Bear with me a second. Okay, convert to, I don't know if you can see that. Well, let me just move it up here. You can right click and convert this to a bitmap, and that will probably solve that problem. So just so you know, when you export to PDF, if you do absolutely need a PDF, that's a way to get around it. The other thing is when you export straight to a graphic, you won't have that problem. Alright, so, and not to skip around here, but let's make a graphic out of this. Let's go to File, Export, and we want a JPEG. That's the banner graphic style we're going to get. So make sure JPEG is visible here. There we go. So we choose JPEG. I've already got a sample in here going. I'll just copy over it. And then hit Save. Replace it. We're going to get a settings box here. Now remember, we were working in points. This is where we can finally get to pixels. So make sure and choose pixels as the export type. And this banner is 860 by 260. And look at that. It keeps the proportion. So we're all good there. For the quality, actually this is good too, by the way. Since we're exporting JPEG, that's what we want. For the quality, you could possibly get away with say 60 to 65. For this example, I'm going to go up to about 70. If you look at the difference here, this is what it's estimating it at, 36. If we go down to say 65, 32, I mean the difference is really minimal. So let's go to 70, 35. Yeah, that's great. Hit OK. And our graphic was made. Open it up in an image viewer. So here we go. We can zoom in. There's a little bit of pixelation there because of the JPEG export. So we might need to alter that. And that's something to be aware of because every program exports JPEG. I think every one of them slightly differently. So, but we've got a a pretty decent banner here. You know, it could be better, could be a little more refined, but it definitely gets the job done. And you could get around things like anti-aliasing by exporting different formats and maybe changing the font type or converting files. So yeah, so we could this is a ready to go kind of file. We could upload it to the site if needed, or to Craigslist, or you know, some other location where it's a usable piece for marketing. All right, 20 minutes in. I hope this was helpful to you. Just kind of a walkthrough of how to make something. I kind of like the idea that you can drag and drop pictures and move them around and do all sorts of stuff, making a collage of things, and just being able to get your sizes exactly. That's huge. So thanks for watching so much. You can find me at smic.net or openground.co. Take care.